ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final X-Men 97 Season 1 review, the finale. I'm the Clown Prince of Farewells, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by...
I am the genetic inferior, Kirkland Patzer.
I'm the Heartcaster, Dilmas.
The AI, Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. This has been a long, long road, as we've talked about. One of our biggest retros of all time, just behind me and Taylor's Clone Wars one. Many months over, I can't remember what it was. We clocked into like 10, 11 months of that retro. Then we got to the series, did that, 9 episodes, and here we are to end it off, X-Men 97. The rumors are hopefully like late 2025 for the next season, but like those are just like C-tier rumors right now. I'm not going to get too excited. As long as it's next year, I'll be happy with that. But yeah, and this is not the end point, because we still got Deadpool and Wolverine coming up, but this is like the midway point for the season of X. We've done lots of these episodes. We've done 4 exclusive X-Men episodes talking about X-Men versus Avengers, what movie we'd want, what roster we'd want. We've done a fan cast draft for the villains, the heroes, and today just dropped the supporting cast. If you look on Patreon, you can see the roster out there, and those are really fun episodes. You should check out the newest one, because we were, as we said, scraping the barrel, because we've been through
on that one.
Yeah, we're getting up to like 30, 40 actors now, and that's, well, no, what was the math? It was like, because we all selected, so we had already done like
80
actors before we did yesterday's draft.
My
So yeah, it was tough. There's a couple names, couple last minute Google searches, but a good time. And yeah,
Russians that nobody's heard of before.
Exactly.
Find his image online.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to that guy. Me and Dylan did a side quest on X-Men Legends 3. I hope we get that one day, because Ann Kirkland was also there,
Yeah,
supporting us. And and right now, currently, the X-Men retros are re-releasing. We were just talking about those. They haven't been in the feeds for many years, and back in the day, we record one for Apocalypse, but the audio was the old mics, and it was terrible. So I've roped them into, I'm going to get, as Kirkland's now deemed it, the Nasty Boys. Me, Kirkland, and Kyle, we're going to get back together and record the one X-Men retro we had not done.
Nice.
Maybe I'll ask them to be on the Deadpool and Logan's ones, because we're going to re-record those, because those are older than 5 years. But at least for sure, Apocalypse and Kirkland wasn't on. Actually, Kirkland wasn't on any of those X reviews as well. Like none of the Deadpools, none of the Logans. So
Was I not on the Apocalypse
That's crazy.
one? I could have sworn I was.
You weren't. I think that might have been right after you'd left. That's why. I think.
I thought I was in the theater watching it.
Bad
with
mics,
guys.
I'm sure it's...
Yeah.
It's cracking
hear you on
audio. I
there.
found it, but yeah. So we're gonna get Kyle.
I was quiet as a
back.
mouse back then too, so I was probably just a couple murmurs here and
What'd
there.
What'd you say? But yeah, so lots of good X-Men content, and lots just other good things. You got side quests, a video game show. We're gonna be talking about Hellblade next week. Got Strangers review coming up, Furiosa review coming up, and then June's just packed with what is it? Acolyte, The Boys, Rings of Power is coming up. So lots of good stuff. So thank you to everyone that has listened to these episodes. It's going to be some good stuff. Everything you need to know is down below. You can get all those episodes ad-free, get many episodes exclusive, early, a nice RSS feed. Polls always. More polls will be coming out soon for monthly retros. Lots of good jazz there. So if you want to support us, independent content creators, we would very much thank you. And if not, just hit a like, subscribe, all that good jazz. Mr. Field, I can't. I was gonna throw to you, but it was gonna be a spoiler throw to you, so I can't throw to you yet. But we'll talk after, because Taylor was hitting me up today. A lot of celebratory back and forth with me and him with the MCU draft. We got some good luck this episode. But
right.
Taylor, the luck aside, how are you feeling about the final episode of season 1?
Yeah, the final episode. Holy smokes. It's full steam ahead and then some. That's what I'll say. It's full of surprises. They just pull out so many different heavy punches, and it was high octane. I love this episode. It was really, really a fun time, and I felt like that it ends in an area that I feel very content with. I feel like, okay, our current story, I feel like is it's being told up to this point very, very well, and I feel like, okay, now we're going to see things with these characters at this point in this episode. It just has me really excited for what's to come in the upcoming seasons and whatnot. It's just, I think that this show, it's great, and I don't think that they really, for being within that half-hour mark, I'm pretty sure it was half. It was
No, it was 40. This one's the longest one. It was 44 minutes or 43.
Was it really 44?
They
Fuck,
gave
it
some
did not
time.
feel like it.
Yeah.
holy shit, then I'm glad that it was longer because I feel like it was
30 of those minutes were just Charles and Magnus's storyline.
You're
That's a
fucking
lie,
with
Taylor.
me.
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
I was like, I don't remember that shit being that long. But no, I think that they managed to they told what they needed to tell within this time frame, and yeah, I'm trying to beat around the bush because everything I want to say
big
is all going
bush.
to be spoilers. It's a huge
Sigourney
bush.
Bush.
Check out our
It's
Alien
Sigourney
Retro.
Bush, yeah.
Alien Retro dropping this week for you patrons. Yeah.
Yeah,
Find all
but
of the bush then.
it's a damn
chewy
good
bush.
episode. I'm just super happy with it, and I think that I want more X-Men. I really, really do.
Good. That's great. You know, they're all unfortunately don't have much on the Disney Plus. I'm waiting for X-Men Evolution to come there. Hopefully, I think you'd enjoy that.
Where
one,
is
but-
that? Why is that not on Disney?
I don't know. We don't have that. And we don't have Wolverine and the X-Men either, which I've truthfully never fully seen the full thing. I've said the word full
Fully.
too many times, but I hear great things about it. So I'd like Disney Plus has that. So I'd like that to change. But X-Men Evolution, that's I was a big fan of that back in the day too. So
I've never heard of the Wolverine and the X-Men show
neither.
before.
Yeah.
I've heard of Evolutions, but
or Taylor, as I was pitching Kirkland before this cast started, you could start watching the Spider-Man animated series, and the X-Men do appear in that for 2 episodes. There's a big crossover episode about if Spider-Man's a mutant, and there's lots of great, like just Wolverine and Spider-Man fighting alone is worth the price of admission. So I'm saying if you're missing that, like
Same voice actors, everything, same animation
for
style.
yeah, same animation style, obviously older. Not all of them, like the Wolverine guy's the same one. Some, but like the same as the original OG show. Like obviously they swapped some actors here, but yeah, it's the same universe. So I'm telling you, there's some good stuff there.
What's the episode? I might just skip to that specific
Nope.
arc.
Nope. You gotta watch it all.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, you gotta you gotta earn it. Dylan, did this finale earn some stripes with you?
The stripes have been earned. I really enjoyed this. This was a fun finale. There's something about it though that's holding me back, and I think it's because this is an ending, but it's really not conclusive in any way, and I feel like this is just a thing that every show does these days, and it really bothers me. Or at least the shows that are my favorite are ones that actually do have nice conclusive endings. So I guess there's a part of me that it just doesn't really feel over yet, and now as you're saying, like, you know, rumors are pointing to maybe we have to wait like a year and a half or something, and that's a long time away. So that's too bad. But no, there's a lot of really great stuff that happens in this episode. I think I've kind of seen the writing on the wall for certain characters and storylines in the last couple episodes, just being like, I don't think we're gonna have the time to really stick the landing on these, and that ended up being the case. But then other characters did get some really great moments here. There's some fun classic combo attacks and all that. And you know, some fun cameos. So this was a really good time. But I do feel like with this show, I think it started out so freaking strong. It set the bar so high, and it like just slightly under delivered. So that's still like, you know, evens out to be a very, very quality show. But I don't know, something about it. It's not like it fell off by any means, but it just, I don't know. I feel like I was way more in it the first few episodes than I did with this, maybe the last 3-parter and closing it out. So that's too bad, but I still had a really good time with it overall.
So I'm gonna go next because I'm gonna ask you a question because I think I'm similar to you. I don't think I'm as low, and not saying you're low on it, but not as low. But at the same time, do you think if the quality of the episodes of the whole show was just like the back half, would you have been much more higher? Because like I think, like I'm saying, just compared like 6 to 10 to the original series, would you still consider that a big step up?
Well, I feel like a lot of the crazier plot twist things, like things that I would not have expected, like it's like, I can't believe they went there. Those sort of decisions all, and I have to go back through the episode count. I feel like those things happened in the first half of the season. And so the second half was really just like putting the pieces back together. And so maybe it wasn't as shocking or wowing in that way. And it kind of just went back to like, I don't know, a very consistent quality, but wasn't blowing me away in that same extent. So I don't know. It's, I feel like the quality is even the whole time. It's just really like how much they're going there with the plot points. I feel like the first half got to be a lot more crazy with it, which makes sense. You know, the second half is trying to tie it all together and connect all these storylines, whereas the first half can really just be whatever it wants at that point in time. So I don't know. That's a tricky question for me.
Yeah, because I'm in the same place where it's tough too for me. We talk about this on the Alien and we talk about this all the time, but I wonder too. The first 1 to 5 had like good action set pieces, but I feel like that was a bit more character driven. Where I feel like this back half, especially the last 3, there's sometimes half the episodes are them fighting Bastion or the Sentinels, right? And that's where I am, where I think overall it's still great. I think it's still, honestly, I'd probably go Loki season 1 and then this right under as far as the like Disney Plus ranks. I know it's on the MCU, but just like what they've put out. Yeah, because that season 2 is great, and I think WandaVision's great, but it still was such a high quality. And it's tough too, because like you said, with the way it ends, I still have not issues, but questions, or maybe some minor issues with the show that could get resolved in episode 1 or 2 of next season, right? So that's where like I'm really tough of, because I was talking about this with Chris from Marvel Alliance, where we both agree on some stuff where it's like, oh, like this needs some explanation. Even with this episode being longer, I didn't get it, and it's not like a massive con. It's not like, oh man, really brought it down, but stuff like I felt the first 5 episodes didn't have that. I thought they were maybe a little, they were rushing, of course, but they still took certain moments to explain things where there's this felt like at times, not fully, but there's some moments I felt like it was missing an episode. Like this was episode 11 out of 10 and I missed, or 11 out of 11 and I missed episode 10 because there's some stuff they just almost ignore from last week that were really big developments and big moments, and they're not even spoken of here. And I watched it twice just to be sure, and it's not. So that's why I can't, when we rank it, I can't like give it like a perfect score, because obviously we have other things too. But overall, I think it gave like a, I guess at least now it sucks to wait, but at least knowing there's a season 2, I think that makes the pill easier to swallow. If there wasn't, I'd be much more like, man, I'm really worried and I can't enjoy this. But I can enjoy this right now. It's like the Dune part 1, part 2 thing sort of deal, where it's like, you know, because I knew that I could give the 10 where Kirkland was a little iffy, so he gave it like the 1 out of 10. So like that's where. But at least with this, I go, okay, that's not affecting it. So things could be answered. I like where the show's left off. I think there's multiple storylines. It's not going where I think we theorize and a lot of other people theorize, so that's fun. I think there's a lot of interesting predicaments, and there's things that I was wrong about that end up being liking them. Great action stuff in here. So overall, still like a, like I can't say it's like a home run, but you got the third base. That's what I say. That's the best thing next to home run, right? And that's pretty good, right? If you were to hitting it all the way there. And I still say they won the game. Like overall, like compared to the original season or original show, I still think it's a big step up. I still think, like I said, as far as Disney Plus, it'd be like Loki, Andor, and then this probably. That'd be my top 3. Like those are the mecca of that, and I'm very excited to see what they do, and I'm very excited to talk about this finale, because I think they left a lot of openness. So still really enjoyed it, thought it was great, but there's still like some minor quibbles I have that maybe could be fixed next season, but I just have to go with what they've presented me so far. And even there's some things I still go, oh, I don't know if that makes sense. And so, but overall I still liked it, but I agree that I think the first 5 I like more than the back half. But again, it's like a slight. It's not like, I'm not saying there was like a massive nosedive. It was just, you know, it's like if you got your food warm out of the oven, you know, and it's sitting there for the 20 minutes, that first 10 minutes nice and warm and crisp, but then afterwards like been sitting there for a bit, lukewarm. Sounds bad. The show's not lukewarm. It's still great, but that's what I'm trying to say. Kirkland, take it away.
I'll take it away from you. Yeah, no, I think that this episode was a hot, steamy pile of wonder. I love this episode. I thought it was fantastic.
No
I
one bought
think
that. No one bought that.
I saw your eyes. You were.
No, I was shaking my head. I knew.
What are our viewers? I think you got them.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
I think like this 3-parter of the finale, the extinction. My gosh,
It's
tolerance is
extinction.
extinction is just a fantastic 3-part finale here. I just, the show in general is just miles higher than what that first show was. So like just the comparison, it's so shiny to me. Like this show is just so top quality with what they're able to do on just character moments. I've said it, I think, every single episode I've been a part of, but the animation quality is just so top tier, and all of the action that they are able to do with like the animators and everything, it looks so good, and just everything with like the camera angles, the shading and everything, it just, I tip my hat to them. So it's just eye candy to me. I love the look of this show. It's so fantastic. And I feel like in this episode in particular, there was like 3 moments when I just like gasped. I think that's just so fantastic to have in a finale. I'm not gonna say it's a perfect season. I think this episode really kind of not really brought to light some of the issues I have, but it's more so like I was waiting for an answer or like a further on something, and I just didn't get that. So it's like, okay, that I'm gonna have to maybe minorly dock it in that sense, just because of something wasn't answered, or maybe I was expecting more from a character's arc, and we just didn't get it in this season. And as you're kind of mentioning, Travis, like it could be resolved early next season, but you do have to kind of judge it as this one property here with the one season. So no, I still think it's so top tier caliber. Big Bastion hater in his origin, like that first appearance, and now it's just like, man, this guy is crazy. I really like this villain. So yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic season finale, and it's got me wanting more. It's definitely like, I just want to be watching the next episode, the next season, next week, and unfortunately, you gotta wait. But I'm glad I have that thought. It's not like, okay, I can wait for the next season or not or whatnot. But no, I think they did a good job at setting up what's to come, and I just don't really know what's going on other than some familiar faces and some familiar items that certain characters are attached to. So I think that yeah. I was gonna say some thumbs, but I'll I'll wait till later for the thumbs. I'm getting too excited here.
Kirkland's ending the episode right now. That's it. We're not even gonna do.
I wasn't a part of last week's episode. You guys did a great review, but that was a fucking banger as well. So yeah, I've been riding this tolerance.
What are your
extinction.
thumbs for that episode?
That's a 2-thumber for
Two
sure.
thumber?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. This is your last chance. We're gonna take our ad break, and then we're gonna get into the spoilers of X-Men '97 finale, season 1. We'll be right back. All right, let's do this. To us, our GeekVerse, let's break this down. And I want to go to the cameos first, because I feel like there's not much to talk about them.
Yeah.
There's one big one, but Taylor's hitting me up. My phone was blowing up this morning at 6 a.m. because I was not putting two together, because yesterday I got that unfortunate news that the Daredevil show was going to be in 2025. So, man, my second draft pick getting me nothing. Nada, zero, zippo. And then Taylor warmed up my day. Usually it's annoying when he texts me, but today I was like, oh man, that. And then he reminded me about Strange. I was like, oh my goodness, I have Strange. And then I got to remind him about something else. But the other thing I forgot too, who else was it there? It was, funny enough, T'Chaka. I had T'Chaka, and that's created a whole buzz on the internet because there's a big debate, which I kind of didn't think someone asked the creator, Bo DeMaio, why was it T'Chaka, not T'Challa? He said he couldn't speak on that. And there has been a thing where Marvel actually has not used T'Challa since Chadwick has passed away. So that's a big debate now, of like, which I get them.
Do you mean in like even in the comics?
Other than What If? Yeah, I think in the comics he's not even around right now. And I think it's someone else that's Black Panther. And in the 2 video games that's coming out, the Black Panther one, the Captain America, whatever, what's that game called again now?
Oh, Hydra 1943.
Not Captain Taylor Panther Spy or whatever, but yeah.
Not Taylor Panther.
They gotta change that title again. That's a bad title. Like, I can't remember
It's an
that.
awful title.
But
yeah.
like there's another thing. They've just keep using T'Chaka, so that's another time to talk about. But it is interesting. Like I get why they're going with the MCU route, but I don't think you should just like make T'Challa just non-existent now. So it's kind of odd. But I did not think I'd be getting T'Chaka here, so I got T'Chaka, Doctor Strange, and Daredevil all surprise points. Then I got to inform Taylor because he did get the big bad blue booty daddy Apocalypse, who we will talk about in a surprise appearance and end credits, because he did not watch that end credit, which we'll also get to. So
right.
lots
Did
of
anyone have Iron Man on their list?
no one
I
had
didn't see Iron Man.
Tony. No.
Okay.
Taylor's Iron Heart, but not Iron Man. So
Wrong
that's-
fucking Iron.
Is
Yeah.
it Apocalypse
Wrong
if it's like not actually Apocalypse at that time? If it's a
Oh,
different name,
that
different
is.
character?
But it doesn't-
That's him.
But it doesn't matter. The end credit.
I know he gets
Okay.
1 point there.
This is the Jeffrey Wright shit over
Yeah.
again, trying to screw me over
out
here,
for
Kirkland.
Taylor.
He
Really
still-
fucked you over.
He still gets the 1 point there. So Taylor, you're on the board. You were on the board, but now you're at 60. And
job,
now
Taylor.
I've taken a 10-point lead on Dylan right now. So it's 140 to
Damn.
150.
Who has
so.
Deadpool and Wolverine as characters?
Let's see.
You don't
I
have
got
to-
one of them.
Taylor has Deadpool and
Yes.
Kirkland has Wolverine.
Oh, okay, so
So
there's gonna be some spicy points for you guys.
Yeah.
Am I just on
Couple ones here.
Bedrock right now, right at the bottom?
no. You're 130. So
Okay.
yeah, no, you're fine.
Respectable.
You still got Venom coming out. You didn't get any Sabretooth or Dazzler points. I'm kind of surprised we never got Dazzler in the show. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
hey.
I thought that was a given. Even Sabretooth. Oh wait, no,
Wait,
it
no,
doesn't
we
count.
did have Dazzler and Genosho, didn't we? Wasn't he singing up on stage at one point?
If so, I need.
Pre-explosion?
Ooh.
That was
If,
Dazzler, right?
if so, I need to. Don't worry, RJ. We're getting there. That's why I'm bringing up the cameos first. We're getting there. That's my name here. But if that's the case, then Kirkland will be like there's a 5-point difference between me, Dylan, and myself.
What's my name? Say my name.
Kirkland, yeah. But Taylor does have some big picks coming up. Yeah, but even then, and Sabretooth, close, but we got more for Sabretooth, so it doesn't count. But
I thought I saw him in the photos that
It was Havoc that looked like
yeah,
him.
yeah.
But the other cameos, we got, like I said, Daredevil got Strange June Surgery. We got the Avengers. So I'm just saying, if you can't do a Spider-Man show, give us that Avengers 99. But then finally, because, I was saying to Kirkland before we went on air, the internet has just turned on Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood, because no one wants the show anymore. I feel bad for these creators because everyone just wants Spider-Man 98 now. But we're going to get this. I pray to God for them that it's good. I hope it's good because people are going to come with pitchforks. But if we don't, go back. One of our biggest retros ever, too. Me, Dylan, and Kyle did the Spider-Man retrospective. And Dylan, if you remember, that last episode ended on a cliffhanger of MJ was lost out there. So if we never get that revival, if we never get episode, we got our answer today. Bo DeMayo, he did tweet out today. He said, yes, he found MJ. So they have confirmed that in the universe, who knows? I hope we get a show so we get the answer. But somehow Peter Parker did find MJ, and
Wait,
she's
is
back.
it in the episode or he just tweeted it?
No, it's in the episode.
I totally missed that
Oh
scene
my
somehow.
God. So when the meteor is coming down, they show a bunch of people watching, and they show there's Flash in his like shitty sports jacket, and it's Peter and MJ standing. It's MJ with that yellow top with the purple, and Peter with that brown purpley jacket. It's them watching on the new. They're watching the news together outside. So in this universe, he got MJ back. So now I can die.
Wow, that's cool.
I've been living on that since the 90s, that stupid cliffhanger. So again, I want the show, but if it never happens, at least we know he got MJ back. And I'm very, very excited about that. So it's just a happy ending. But yeah, I loved all these cameos. It was great when we talk about how many times in the original show bad stuff be happening. And they've done this already, but this was like the mecca of you're seeing Wakanda, you're seeing the Avengers, you're seeing Spider-Man, you're seeing Daredevil. I did not have Daredevil on my, you see Cloak and Dagger. So very, very cool. And I think that added to the stakes of this episode.
Man, when I saw Cloak and Dagger pop up, they're Marvel Snap cards, and like I've used both of them multiple times, but like it didn't click that they're like a pairing until they literally just appeared together, and I'm like, oh, Cloak and Dagger, yeah, that makes sense.
Man, I can't find this. If anyone has a minute count for this, please send it my way.
I'll look into it.
It's right before the asteroid
I'll never
crash. I
crunch.
don't know the minute, but
I've been
Taylor,
scrolling and I
Okay.
can't see it anywhere.
Taylor, what do you think about these cameos? Obviously, you got some points. So that's good. And you needed these points to get you back in because the jump from 30 to 65 is pretty good. So Apocalypse, he ended up being a good pick for you.
It was a good pick. I was extremely concerned. I thought, man, I'm not getting shit all from Apocalypse in this season. It's brutal. But I thought, seeing this episode, when Bastion and Rogue crash land, because Rogue just kicks the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then you briefly see like these stone statues, like, oh, that's Apocalypse. That looks like his. It's either Easter Island heads or it's actually Apocalypse on the statue. So there you go. I'm just super happy we got him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the cameos were great. I just seeing Daredevil, Strange, and getting Steve Rogers with his mask off too was cool, and just a lot of emphasis on his upset, not even reluctance, but his acknowledgement of what the president was doing. Kelly's just
was.
like, let's fucking fire the missiles.
Which was good because I saw a lot of pushback. Cap a couple episodes ago, they're like, Cap in the comics never follows the government. Like he is, but this is such a bad representation. Just relax. Like to me, I didn't take it as he was, because he said he had a mission. I didn't take it as like, I'm gonna fucking take you in. And now here we see a few episodes where he's like, hey, don't fucking destroy the mutants.
Yeah.
And then when they do, he puts his head down. So it's like, I don't think this was a government Captain America. And yeah, it was a great moment.
It felt like, compared to MCU, like early Cap, like in the first Avenger era of
Winter first Avenger, Winter Soldier type.
in between that, where like his own morals, like he's questioning it, but like he's still playing game and being like the good soldier that he has to be. But yeah, I love that moment. Like it showed layers to that character that's a side character in this show. I thought that was fantastic.
And hell, maybe if they make that Avengers show, this could be the tipping off point, right? This could be the like, well, we can't trust working for the government. We got to do our own thing. And Tony was there. Like, I just want that show,
Where did
man.
Tony go too in that moment? Like he was like in the room, and then when it goes to them,
went to go
talking
fight
about-
with Bastion.
Okay.
He's a little late. Just a few minutes.
That'd probably be a
late.
nice battle between those two. Very
That
much.
would be. Yeah.
Battle of the robot types.
Yeah. So Dylan, now have you laid your eyes on the glorious?
Yeah,
MJ's
I mean, I
return?
did see that scene. I'm like that.
Yep.
That does not look like Peter Parker to me, in my opinion.
Okay.
I see MJ now. I remember seeing it. I was like, She looks kind of familiar, but I did not.
Did you
put
see
it
Flash in
together.
the background as well?
I see
too?
Flash now in the background. I would not have caught that on my own without
Yeah,
people
it's
mentioning
great.
it. But yeah, that's cool. I definitely want. I mean, I'm with you. I want like the revival of that show too.
Yeah. But we got some resolution to that retro, you know? He found her. So good on him. So
I know. I need some time to let that sink in. It's I'm just learning about it right now. So
MJ was the one that stood out to me. Just that iconic red hair, because like it's not like they have the camera on them for very long. It's just kind of showing like citizens witnessing the asteroid coming down, and then it's just like a red hair, man, that stands out. And then I rewound, and then I'm like, oh, that's got to be Peter. And then
that just stuck out because
saw
Peter
Flash in the back.
in that show he only has two outfits. He either wears that or he wears this shirt, which I have saved in my bookmarks.
if that
'Cause
was the shirt, I probably would have recognized it. To be honest.
every day I look at it and I think about buying it. It's like gonna be like $100 with shipping. I haven't
Good
bought
reviews
it, but
though.
every day I still have like look at my tabs. It's my number one tab there, and I haven't deleted yet because
some
I'm like,
porn on there,
I'm
too.
gonna.
Is that like an
actual?
actual like Marvel product that
There,
you're looking at?
no, there was one on Disney website, but it was gone. So that's just a knockoff one. Plus, I didn't like it. The Disney one had the same shirt, but had like a big Spider-Man logo.
Ugh, I
was
hate
like,
when they do
yeah, I
that.
was like, I don't want that. Like,
Yeah.
I just want the shirt. I want the polo. So I'm probably gonna break soon and buy it. But Dylan, what do you
You
think about the
earned it.
cameos in generals? Other than the end credit, we'll talk about the end credit obviously later on.
Yeah, no, it was really fun. I mean, seeing Daredevil since he was showed up once or twice in the Spider-Man series as
Yeah.
well. So once again, kind of having the characters that we've seen before. Silver Samurai is surprising that I mean, I guess it's kind of set up
watching.
because we saw what was it, Spidey, Samurai, and
Omega Red.
Omega Red in like the last episode. So it makes sense to kind of resolve that. But like he didn't really do much. He was just like his face again, right? Or did
He
we?
loves standing there and watching. That's
Yeah.
what he did. He'd just stand there and watching. I think he's definitely coming next season. I think.
Yeah, and then I liked one thing that got me potentially excited is Psylocke was running with that crew, and I can't remember their name, but
Yeah.
like the twins and a couple of those other people. I'd love to see if she had like her own little crew now with those people and some other characters. I think what was his name? Puck? Is that the creepy guy?
Alpha Flight. Yeah,
Alpha
Puck and
Flight
Alpha
people,
Flight.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be that's kind of an interesting pairing. So I'm curious to dig more into that one. But no, they were all very fun, and it was cool that they were actually a little bit substantial this time too. I feel like especially
Yeah.
with Cap and Iron Man, as you guys kind of already broke that down. But yeah, even like I guess Omega Red, we don't really see him fight a whole lot. We see him like start to fight, and then
Yeah.
it kind of like ends before that. But he also was like with some other crew as well. So I feel like they're setting up maybe some faction stuff that they can play with in the future, which is
Well,
kind of
yeah.
potentially interesting in a world that is now post Genosha. The Morlocks aren't around, so I feel like we need some other kind of crews kicking around in this world. I mean, I could see the first few episodes of the next season not even being in this timeline really in
Yeah.
a meaningful way, but
Well, and that's the other thing too. They said at the end of the episode, the X-Men have been missing for 6 months.
Yes.
So it's like, what
Big
has
cut.
happened in the world? Like, I'd love an episode where we follow our main characters, but then another episode where it is just what's been happening to the world while the X-Men are gone. Because there has to be somebody, right? And Forge was trying to look for them. Some were missing. Some had nothing. They had Petro and Scarlet like off-world. So it's like,
Off-world,
what
yes.
does that mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, I'd be curious what has happened in these 6 months. Same thing is like, is Omega Red like a good guy now? Like, is he teamed up with mutants after this because he saw they're like, are all the mutants united now? You know, and they said this thing on the radio that everyone's prepping for the second coming of Magneto, and it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, is Magneto Jesus now, or they think he's gonna come back at any moment? Like,
Best
that's
thing
what.
on planet Earth was the X-Men disappearing.
Well, yeah, it's peace and
Everyone living
harmony
in
now.
harmony, yeah.
Yeah, Kingpin's like a charitable guy now.
There's no poverty in the world.
Yeah, Doctor Doom's like a nice president, you know. But like, yeah, I'm just curious, like, what does that mean? They're prepping for the second coming of Magneto, because like, Magneto is just like he's stuck in like Egypt somewhere. It'd be different if we
Yeah.
didn't see him, and I'd be like, oh man, what's he up to? But no, he's like
I-
he's just trying to survive, you know.
I mean, I just took that like because he was such a threat to humanity, right? Like he
True,
had his
yeah.
fight against humanity. They label him the villain, and then he just disappears, and then now they're worried that he could be coming back. Like that's how I took that statement.
Yeah.
More not so much, the day.
I took it the other way. I took it as they saw that he saved them at the end, even if he did cause the outage in the first place and maybe built Asteroid M in the first place. So like
Yes,
all of this is
again.
his fault. But I took it as more that when they were about to get fucked up by this asteroid coming down, he was the one that ultimately saved it, and they were able to tell that because of like I don't know, just the big electronic storm, I guess, that looks like something Magneto would do.
There
So I
was
guess I
some
took it more on the
line.
positive side, but it could be either way.
I thought in that same sense there was some line about Summer showing support for the second coming of Magneto or something like that. So you could be right that there could, and again, that could just be the Brotherhood thing, right? And I just don't really like. Let's talk. That was a lot of let's. Let's talk about Magneto because we get a lot. I liked all the stuff they did with Charles. I think they could have maybe shortened it a bit, but I liked all the stuff. I liked the imagery. I'm very curious what they're going to do with him because obviously the first few episodes, they just got to team up to get back to their timeline, right? So it doesn't really matter if he's good, bad, indifferent. They just got to work together. I just don't know what they do with him now because we talked about this before where, okay, if he goes evil, he's going to go really evil. And now he did, but then he saved the world. So it's just like, can he return back to our timeline or the 97 timeline and just be like, oh, I screwed up again, but I'm with the X-Men? Like, I really don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I would have actually been fine with him doing like a sacrifice move here, you know, because I don't want to get it into the place where the live action movies got, where he just kept going back and forth all the time. And
Yeah.
I think all of us were like, oh, he turned bad too quickly again, but that's fine if he wants to do a send off. So I'm very torn what they're going to do with him once he gets to 97 time. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he makes a sacrifice move there, right? Maybe he saves himself, like, or saves them, like. So we'll see. But as of right now, I'm very confused what they're going to do with them. So
Yeah, no, I went on a bit of a camel ride with Magneto in this one with lots of ups and downs, lots of humps. But because at first I thought Charles was just fucking murking him right there when he does his like close up right on him. You got like the cone, like the psionic cone, just going around his head. They like get twisted up in the air. I thought that was gonna be the end of
it was over.
Magnus, Eric, all of those names. And
did
then
you see in his file his two other names that they bleeped out?
no,
It was
I missed
Ian, and they blanked out the last name, and then Michael, and they blanked out the last name.
Oh,
So
that's
a
kinda fun.
That's
Yeah.
a fun. Yeah, I like that.
But no, like I felt like we did the redemption kind of Magnus at the start of this season, and then you know the big event happened, and then he's just going back to his evil ways, and this is like the most extreme it's been. That's why I thought it was going to end in his death, especially with what he did to Wolverine, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
I felt like that confrontation between him and I almost said Patrick Stewart, him and Charles. Kind of lackluster. It's just like, and what you did to Wolverine. It's like, well, he tried to murder me, and then that was just it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a
am
good
a
argument,
little.
though. It's like, yeah,
It's true.
He did take the first shot.
No, yeah, no, you're not wrong. I just feel I'm kind of worried that we're gonna get into this zone where. Okay, he's back on our team, and then something's gonna happen, and then he's just gonna go
flip
extremist Magnus again.
Yeah.
I am hoping, and I don't think this is gonna happen, but I'm kind of hoping that he is permanently like fucked up in the psyche, and he's almost like it's almost like a Gollum Smeagol type situation where like he's just constant, and like it's not as extreme as that where he's talking with himself.
They look over,
But I
and
would
Magnus-
want that to just kind of have him seem like he's an X-Men, like a good guy, and then there's just this like cloud that he's kind of having over, and like an eternal dialogue. I guess I am kind of just laying out a Smeagol Gollum situation, but I don't know. That's kind of fun. Like I feel like that's very different, and I do want him to be permanently changed from this. I'm worried that we're just going to be going back to the flip flopping, but yeah.
I loved his line, just the small line of it's much easier to bend metal than it is minds, Charles. Thought that was really great. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I don't really know where we're going with this. I mean, if I had to make a prediction once we get back to the main timeline, I don't know. I feel like they've set him up so much in this show, specifically in this revival, that they want him to be a permanent member and not just go off to the Savage Land or go off and, you know, find his peace up on a mountain somewhere and then come back with the Brotherhood of Mutants in the future or something. So I think it would be fun if he's just a constant member of the X-Mansion, member of the team, leader with Charles, and then you can just play on that a lot more of them with whatever situation arises week to week, or in this show it's more of a one cohesive story. Whatever situation arises, you can just hear their differing opinions and maybe their splintering factions, and I think that could be, you know, that could lead into a villain turn or something again in the future. But I do hope we get a bit more of that. We all talked about how we wanted a bit more time of him being the leader of the X-Men, and we can still have that. And I think doing it alongside Charles would be interesting, and the push and pull there, because I could see him just being like, well, according to the will, like, you left me the mansion, so actually they are my X-Men still, even if you're back. Unless maybe he had some fine print. We all know Charles. He's probably a slimy guy. He'd have some fine print.
No, Eric.
But I think that could be a really fun dynamic to play on some more. But I also wouldn't be shocked if he just disappears for a while and then comes back and has some villain situation going on. But I don't know. I feel like this show seems a bit more mature than that to just go down that route again. The other thing that surprised me about him in this episode was how hung up he was on Rogue.
Yes, he was.
And
yeah.
that was something that he obviously bottles it up inside, but since Charles was inside of him and visiting those thoughts, and Rogue's out on like a boat on the waves there. But I was really surprised to hear about that. I feel like he hadn't mentioned that past the I guess proposal, and then she denied him for Gambit, and then everything went down. Genosha,
I was gonna say
really
they didn't
get
have time, right? Yeah, because he's been like crossed up for weeks and everything like that.
Yeah, so I guess that's the reason why. But I feel like they should have done something previously of just him thinking like in his mind, some own thoughts, talking to himself or talking to Val or something. That could work, where he expressed some of those emotions, because it kind of caught me off guard here. But I don't know if I'm alone on that.
No, I'm with you. I feel like it seems strange for him to be like on the brink of just like no memories, doesn't remember his family, and like Rogue is the one that he's kind of like that's his main like catalyst to bring him back to the normal world. It did seem like a bit of a stretch. I don't know. I'm curious what's going to happen with that relationship going forward, because it really seems like something that they made the decision going into this X-Men 97 show. Like this is going to be not like a main pillar of the show, but like a big decision, big character decision, I guess, of that pairing. And you know, when Remy eventually shows up again, that there'll be some tension there.
Well, I think that's why they're going to get together next year, because they'll be together, and then lo and behold, that's when Gambit comes back, and that's when it's like, oh shit, like Rogue's put in this situation again, right? Especially because like Magneto and her got out, like there was 3 separate people that got, or groups. It's funny, I always like all these teams are going to end up split up, and they did, but not in the way I thought. You have the team in Egypt, which is Magneto, Charles, Beast, Rogue, and then you have the future, which is Scott and Jean. We have no fucking clue where Morph and Wolverine are. They weren't in the current day, and they weren't with the Egypt team, and they weren't with the future team. So I really don't know.
Were they in the asteroid when that?
They were, yeah.
Okay.
They were with the whole crew because it was like, we'll get there, but when he's still healing and stuff like that, right? So he was, I believe he was, because
Wasn't the last scene when Cyclops is like, "Don't you do this to her"? Or something like that?
Technically the last scene was really fucked up, which I liked that of Scott, which I still have issues, but I like him saying like, "If you die, you're gonna break your heart." It's like, okay, let's just do the throuple, let's just do it. But the last scene of Wolverine was, it looks like he's kind of fading away, and Morph turns into Jean Grey and it's like, "I love you, hold on." And he's like, "Jean." So that was the last scene. Morph just fucking with his emotions.
He did not actually say Jean for any.
He did.
Wolverine?
I didn't hear it.
No.
He was like, he does. No, I think he says Jean. I think he's asked for Jean. Watch it back. I'm pretty sure he asked for Jean.
What's the
and that's what she said. So, but I think he was on that ship with them, because where else would he have been, right? Or Asteroid M. Like,
yeah, because he never went back to Earth. I was just trying to remember,
Yeah.
because Cable was the one on Earth who was getting fucked up, and then Forge was fixing him, not Wolverine. I was mixing up those two. Yeah.
So I don't really know. For fun, I'd like him to be with Scott and Jean, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I really don't know. Maybe they're going to be somewhere else too. Maybe they'll be in a completely different third equation. And even then, I guess we didn't see Storm or Jubilee. Oh yeah, we didn't see Storm, Jubilee, or
We didn't see Storm. Jubilee's on Earth
no
though,
chance.
with Sunspot.
Yeah, they flew away. Remember, Jubilee fell out and Sunspot grabbed her. And
But how come
Put
they?
that thumb down, Travis. He
But-
did not say Jean under the breath. I just
Yeah, he
pulled it up
did.
with
Yeah, he did.
subtitles and everything.
Your
Just-
subtitles are wrong.
Subtitles.
You're
don't
trying to
lie.
force it out there.
Okay, but how come why did Forge have a missing, possibly dead sticker on Storm?
Storm. You're right. Is we don't know. I guess we didn't see her in either
right?
timeline.
So
But
that's
Jubilee and Sunspot is what we're saying. They're on Earth.
okay. So they're on Earth.
And
so
they had,
I'm-
I think I couldn't read what it said. I think it said alive.
okay.
It said something. It didn't say. It didn't say unknown. Whatever the other one said.
Earth's like the 2 X-Men that come back are fucking Jubilee and Sunspot. You couldn't have got anybody else, but okay.
Jubilee popped off in that
She
final
did.
fight, though. She showed
I-
that she's got some power.
I love that Bastion made some like 4th of July jokes. She's like, yeah, I've heard that before, and then just fucked up his face. I was like, yeah.
She said she
you
hadn't
go,
heard that
girl.
one before, actually,
Well.
and I love that line because I feel like
that's
early
not what.
portions.
That's not
Said
what she's
different-
implying,
different
Kurt, but-
subtitles
Yeah,
for
different
Travis.
subtitles. And then she said Jean. But so that makes that makes me think that Wolverine, Morph, and Storm are in a third place. Then I would think.
You're frozen bad there.
Oh, I am. I got a big.
Yeah,
That's me
yeah,
trying to say
mouthful.
forage.
Gene.
Taylor, what did you think of? Because you didn't go. What do you think about Magneto? And then what do you think about all these the time stuff we were transitioning to? But start with Magnus.
Yeah, firstly with Magneto, I think him having a blank slate of a mind and just kind of like trying to recall certain things, and Xavier kind of talking him through the ropes. I like that his mind goes to Rogue because I feel like that's just one of the earlier things he could think of that or would come to that's really was a positive thing in his life, and so I like that his mind goes there and can recall Rogue as an important factor in his personal life. So I was expecting you to come back to that frame.
What frame?
You're frozen again. For going from Dexter to that, I just wasn't expecting.
Oh, in my screen it's just black. So continue.
Okay. And then his whole kind of recuperation of just counting of events and just feeling alone and isolated in the waves. The water is so cold. It was just very traumatizing, and I was digging all of that. It was really, really intense. And then getting into the other characters and where they're at now. I personally, their decision when Beast is talking about how we can all act like in synchronicity here and we can basically save the day. I like that. And so they all do just that. But the idea that these humans fired off these missiles at asteroid M to destroy it, but knowing that this probably isn't a good idea because it's going to crash on Earth and like wipe out half of the United States or something like that. Like what the fuck? Like, are you that
It's a really
stupid?
big risk.
It's a very big risk. And what was their point? Like, oh, someone was like, oh, there's fire in the sky. Let's fucking nuke this asteroid and annihilate our country. Just a stupid decision. But
I think they were just scared Magneto would do worse, though. You know, like it's the country versus like the whole planet, maybe. That sort of
I
idea.
guess, and that's just like that's just humans with a lack of information, just going in and thinking that they can make be the shot caller here. They should have listened to.
Well, he is the president of the United States.
Yeah, but he had a lack of information. He was making this declaration of attack here based on insufficient evidence and information on what was really going on. So he should have just listened to Steve Rogers. He should have just been listening to all these other soups that were just telling him, like, you know, you need to calm the fuck down, man, and just listen. Just let the X-Men do their shit. We don't know what's going on. So, anyways, I think, though, that...
Sorry, can I quickly add in, like, with the Asteroid M thing, with, like, the way it was shot, it seemed like there was like three missiles that went all the way through the asteroid to, like, I guess the gravity machine that keeps it floating in the sky. And to me, it like looked like that was like an intentional plan to hit that part of it down. But I don't. Maybe that was an accident. Maybe they're just trying to crumble it down into smaller parts.
It was the Magneto protocol, wasn't it? Like the dossier. That's what it said. Which I read Magnet 2 protocol at first. But I think that this was specifically tailored to destroy Planet M. They had the
right. But
deets
I'm
on
saying
it.
like I don't know if they meant to hit the gravity part of that. Like that purple machine that keeps the
misfired.
gravity working.
Oh, I see.
I don't even know if
Yeah,
that's how it
knows
works,
there.
but it seemed like that was intentional.
Yeah, you make a good point because I mean, why would you intentionally want? I mean, that was my issue in the first place. Why would you intentionally want to hit that and destroy half of your country or your whole country? So maybe you make a good point there.
Because like their plan, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I missed a big portion of this, but it's not necessarily to hit the asteroid to prevent it from hitting them, right? It's just to take out Magneto because he's the one that's like EMP the entire Earth, right? Like, isn't that their motivation right there, where they just have Planet M in the or Asteroid M, not Planet M, up in the sky, up in the exit sphere, whatever the hell it is, and like they're just trying to take it out, and then the stuff's going on. They hit the gravity, and then they're just basically causing the next extinction event. I think Beast mentions the going the way of the dinosaurs, as he eloquently said it. But that's how it went, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if they're trying to go for the asteroid or specifically Magneto as the guy.
Yeah, he's got to be up there somewhere. Just
Yeah.
shoot him up.
Fire.
I
fire
guess it's
missiles.
kind of one and the same, but maybe that's where they fucked up or something. Miscalculated somehow.
Big time.
But yeah, it's just getting this cool kind of dynamic with our characters and having half the team in the past, half the team in the future. I'm so happy with this, and it's such an unexpected turn that I I was curious how they were going to progress with this show, because when you deal with a character like Bastion, you deal with this fallout of Nathan and everything that has underwhelmed, or not underwhelmed, overwhelmed our heroes in this show. I don't know what you could really do to continue on, and so just to come up with this dynamic ending where you split our team up and you have the past, the future, and time travel coming in here. I doubt we're gonna get multiversal. I'd welcome it, but I don't think that's really in the realm for the animated show. I think that they're just gonna stick to the time travel. That's always served them pretty well in the past with the original 5 seasons. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing our characters work with maybe a good pre-apocalypse guy. I think that's going to be really cool. And I'm assuming he's good at this point. I mean, he looked like he was just being like harassed by these fucking followers of
Kun
Ra.
Machente.
Yeah, Kun Machente.
That's what I was thinking. Because he's supposed to be the first mutant, right? That's Apocalypse's
Yeah.
shtick.
Right. Yeah.
Even though
so-
those guys look pretty mutant, if you're asking me.
They were just
They-
well
Whatever the
trained.
fuck they're called.
the Egyptian
Pharaoh
soldiers. So I mean,
types.
it's interesting too, because when the world of X-Men, we deal with this scenario of when you change things in the timeline, then you like really fuck up and change the timeline. We've seen that many times where this future is terrible, so not Bastion, Bishop goes back in time and he changes one thing, keeps one person alive, one person dies, who knows, and then it totally creates a new future. And so with this, I feel like the X-Men is consistently one moving forward storyline, one if that makes sense. It's kind of like the difference where there's Avengers Endgame, where you have constantly different timelines, and you can travel in time to different points of time, and when you change something, it doesn't change your timeline. Like them going back and Thanos coming back from that timeline into our present timeline. It doesn't. It removes Thanos from that timeline. That will continue on, but it doesn't remove Thanos in the future from this timeline because he just jumps over. Whereas when you look at Back to the Future, for example, when you go back to and you stop your parents from getting together at the under the sea dance, then it just erases you. It changes the future. So that's the case here, and I like that it's very just black and white linear for X-Men 97 and the previous show. So that's in this case what I'm trying to get at is with the team being in the past, them now interacting with this pre-apocalypse young apocalypse character, that's going to retroactively change the future based on how we've seen time travel work in the past on the original X-Men show. And the same, I imagine, too, this will be interesting to see how this dynamic works, because we also have X-Men in the future. So how is this going to...
And some in the quote-unquote
and
present.
some in the present, yeah. So how, in each different instance, they're doing different decisions. How is that going to affect? Like, is one character gonna, like, Xavier gonna wake up and Beast is gonna, like, throw him at Apocalypse, and Apocalypse will, like, break his back? Is that gonna affect the present? I'm just spitballing.
I'm glad it's
Yeah.
5 years later. We're talking about Endgame time travel
I was
again.
just
It's one of
gonna
my
say,
favorite
I'm having
conversations.
flashbacks.
It all comes back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds fun, but man, it could also get messy and convoluted. So I'd be curious to see how they do that. Like, just in terms of, like, in a 30-minute episode, how do you convey that to us as the viewer? Like, the one timeline doing something and then it rippling out, but then maybe we don't see that until, like, the second section of, like, the next episode, or what? I don't know. Maybe it's, like, just a 3-parter, this whole, like, time travel sequence, or the different Egypt timelines going on there, with Bishop trying to fix all that. But yeah, that I didn't really get, like, overthink that part, I guess. But yeah, you're right that there could be some crazy stuff going on there. Should be fun.
I think it's gonna be okay, because I think the past, they're gonna realize that unfortunately you gotta let Apocalypse become Apocalypse. So whatever they want to try to talk to Ensign Ember about, like, it's not like, then it's like, well, then could that not like that might not lead to the creation of the X-Men or X, Y, and Z, or things could get worse. So I think, like, the Ensabanur guy is gonna have a point where they could maybe change some things, but no, he's still got to become Apocalypse. And yes, Kirkland, he is the first mutant, so you got to let that play out. So I think that's why that's gonna be fine. I think the future, it's kind of okay, because the future can always be changed, as Bishop showed. So that could be, they could do one sort of mission with Nathan here, but that doesn't mean it's going to go forward, because as we saw in the diner, Nathan heard all these stories about his parents, never interacted with his parents, right? Now, they never said in the future, when they go, oh, Nathan, they didn't say our son, so they might lie to Nathan and not tell him that, you know, they're his parents for X, Y, and Z, right? They might not want to share that information. It might just be some mutants he deals with. But yeah, it's interesting because both those are based off, the Apocalypse one is based off Rise of the Apocalypse, and then the future one is based off of the Adventures. It's a 4-part miniseries, The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, which she did tap into some Phoenix powers here. So I think she's going to probably pop up a bit more in season 2. So, and there's some other big character in there that it's going to be, you'll see. I think they're going to do that arc, and there's some other big characters coming in that future arc, which will be fun to see. Even some hints in this episode. So,
Like new characters or reoccurring ones? Or not reoccurring, ones that we've seen before.
Well, one is Nathan,
No-
right? One's like an
no-
alternate timeline Nathan situation.
yeah, one's Nathan, but there's other characters in this timeline that are
Mother
important to the
Ascani,
X-Men.
they called her.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe someone in the
Ooh.
Ascani clan might be of note there. So,
Okay.
Right.
but
I'll tune
yeah,
in for that.
so I think the future's fine. They get do it in a way where Cable doesn't even know that's his parents, because like they might not even change anything. And Apocalypse, they might not change anything. Who knows what's happening with Storm and Wolverine and Morph? And the present day, who knows? We know Apocalypse is popping off there because it's looks like our boy's coming back next
He always
year.
is.
What?
He always is.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say my I would guess that Beyonder is the one responsible for Asteroid M, the whatever happened in Asteroid
Oh,
M
right, yeah.
disappearing there, and then all these people getting spat out different places, which would, well, for one reason, that's just makes sense. That's something Beyonder would do. Could see Beyonder wanting to save these people because they are interesting to him for some reason. But then also that ties back into the original series, even if that wasn't something that was, I don't know, it was explored like a bit, but not tremendously, right? So that's my prediction. Do you guys have any other ideas of what actually happened to the asteroid here?
No, Beyonder's good.
Because Bishop, what is Bishop's line? Like something or someone.
Pulled them out of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Beyonder would be a good one. They've touched upon it, so I feel like that's the go-to theory, unless there's something to do with Apocalypse because he is back. But I'm going to say they're not the same situation. Apocalypse is just taking advantage of this situation. And heck, maybe that's when we talk about what's happening in the 6 months while they're gone. Maybe Apocalypse is just going to mess up the present time. Like he's going to just go to town. So I think Beyonder is a good theory because I can't think of anybody else right now that would feel, unless it's the Bastion route where they're going to introduce someone completely new in the X-Men or Marvel canon, which they could do, which because I was surprised they did Bastion. But I as far as known properties or people that have been around, I think Beyonder is a good one.
No guesses.
I have
I'm
no
gonna
fucking
put my
idea.
chips on Beyonder. Yeah.
I'll go with you, Beyonder.
Another thing that I found interesting with the time stuff is we've been questioning this whole time, like, is this Forge the Forge that we've seen before? And yeah, it seems like this is, like, the Forge that we're getting here is going to become that Forge.
They pulled a
but-
tenet. I'm gonna be your friend one day. They literally pulled me into a tenet. Yeah.
But yeah, he is, to this point, like, this Forge has no memory, I guess, has no relation to the Forge that we had in the original series in terms of knowing those events. I explained that very poorly, but I think that's an interesting dynamic, and I'm actually very excited to see Bishop and Forge in, like, the present day and get that dynamic now. I was excited to see Bishop this season, and then he fucking disappeared and had 3.5 minutes of screen time, so that could happen again. But if we're dealing with time travel, actual stuff, characters in different eras, I'm sure we're going to actually get to use that character a bit more. And yeah, I'm excited to see that friendship blossom, especially because Forge is in like a really rough spot right now. The love of his life has disappeared for 6 months, and he's still just every day just working at the computers trying to figure out what's going on. And so I feel like he's still in that very fragile state, which could be a great place for them to bond. And yeah, who knows what the hell's going on with Bishop? Like I don't know what his story is outside of what I've seen in this series, because he's always just kind of more of a plot device than he is like a personality driven character. So hopefully we get a bit more of that with him and Forge next season.
Well, let's take our next ad break, and we'll keep breaking down the finale. And we're back. And the other thing too is like, where's Cable and all this? It's been 6 months, so he could be gone. But last time we saw him, he was just sitting in a diner in New York somewhere, right? So it's like, does he stick around? Does he go back to his time? I don't know. There's like a lot of good open-ended things. Feels like the end of Fellowship of the Ring, you know, where all these characters are places, but it's like, hey, where are those places gonna end up? How they get all interlinked again? So, yeah, I'll be excited to see again. I would love, because I think I can't remember. Bishop said something like, "Oh, looking for new recruits again." I would love that. Same thing. What's Nightcrawler's status? Is he another missing one?
He was in the ancient timeline.
Right. He was right because he had his speed.
He saw Rogue at first. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so that answers him. So again, I'd love it if we got like Forge and Bishop's X-Men, even if it's like a really ragtag. They have not great chemistry type of team, but it's just like the expendable Suicide Squad.
Well, looking at
Thunderbolts,
that wall, I mean, we saw Shadowcat on there. I'd love
Yeah.
to get Kitty Pryde in there, Iceman,
Yeah.
Havoc, Emma Frost,
Get
Colossus,
back.
Magic.
Yeah.
Magic. That's hype.
Yeah, that'd be great. So
Because and then on that board it said for Cable he was AWOL. Same thing with Jubilee and.
Oh, is that what it
Sunspot.
said?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
said a
I
lot.
had to
double
That
check.
makes sense. Yeah.
So I could even believe, though, because they're all AWOL, I could believe that those three are like on some sort of mission together too. Which I actually think a Jubilee and Cable pairing could be tons of fun. I would love to see the dynamics of, especially too, if Robbie and Jubilee are like in big love and Cable's like, oh my god,
Just like a grumpy babysitter. I like that.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it'd be fantastic, And I bounced over it, but I really like the moment in the diner too, when that Scott saying goodbye for the first time, like he should have when he's a baby, and just giving him just kind of who your parents are and why they're proud of them, and Jean's officially pretty much adopting him as her son. So I thought that was a really
The eyes. That was
yeah,
really
the eye,
sweet.
yeah, that was a nice moment. So I
At
thought
first the
it was
eyes didn't like fully change, and he's like, "You got my eyes," and they're just like
Red
completely red.
devil.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Jesus."
great. No, Dad, I don't.
No, that was a touching scene for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, another question. So we're talking about that board. You guys mentioned Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Off-World.
Yeah.
What's going on there? What do we any quick theories on what's going on? Because that's a very specific thing to call out.
Yeah, and I thought we would have saw them this season. We didn't, so I don't know what's going on with that. I that's
Do you
my.
think they're looking for Magneto? Maybe looking for their daddy.
There's a chance. My hope headcanon is that the Avengers are together and they're with the Avengers right now, off-world, doing some Avengers stuff.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah, 6
my-
months later, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to headcanon that this event caused the Avengers to get together in my show that I'm pitching to Disney Plus. So they're with
Yeah,
their
the
maybe
world
they're
needs heroes right now.
They do, right? So that, or if they're not, that has to be answered next season. I really think it will be. They'll get an episode. I really, even if it's just them looking for their dad, I think Scarlet Witch is a powerful enough character to save her dad. Like she's a person that could find a portal and create something to get them out of this time predicament, right? Like I
Multiversal
really,
stuff.
yeah, and I'm just honestly very surprised. I think Bo DeMeo said the only character that was off limits was Deadpool, which makes sense because the movie's coming out and they want to do that. But I thought for sure these characters were going to be in much, much more. So I feel like they had with that, because you just could put missing there too. You don't got to put off-world. Off-world feels very specific. So I feel like we might get some, twin-centric episode in the future.
Actually, what you're mentioning there with the Avengers thing, I think that it makes even more sense with the off-world comment, because that would
Yeah.
be like, oh yeah, there's an Avengers mission off-world. That makes
Yeah.
sense as like a confirmation of why that is. But yeah, it is maybe strange that he doesn't have other Avengers on that list. Like, I guess it's just mutants.
Just the mutants, yeah. Doesn't
So
have
I guess
Spidey
that-
on that list, but
Yeah, I guess that makes sense then.
or maybe it's just like people he's like not met but knows of. Like it's who knows what's going on in Forge's life. I'm sure he's helped. A
I
lot
mean,
of people
Morph
out.
did transform into Quicksilver at some point,
Yeah,
so
he's like,
Quicksilver is like a known
Write
entity.
that down. Yeah. Taylor, you were gonna say something before?
Yeah, well, I was gonna mention something. Hopefully, no one wants to continue on unless I detour. What the
Where-
fuck am I trying to say?
How
say
hard are you?
something.
How hard are you detouring?
Sinister.
Yeah, okay, we can. It's kind of the same realm.
Show me my face.
That's what I wanted to talk about because when Morph changes to him, and he leaves, he's like, oh, that's what he makes this weird moan as he runs away. That's the last we see of him.
He
for
loves
now.
to scurry away.
And
He's
they
so
never
good at
stop him.
scurrying
They
away.
never stop him. They just
Yeah.
let him scurry.
He's at his lowest here.
Yeah, I still stay with where I was. It's kind of like the Magneto thing, where I think Jean should just ripped him to shreds, and I just like, do we need him? Because we know what's gonna happen. He's gonna get power. He's gonna come back.
He's
like,
gonna join the X-Men. They're recruiting people. Right?
I would love that, but like with Apocalypse coming back, I could see and I love Sinister. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like they didn't kill off. They didn't kill off Magneto. They didn't kill off Bastion. I don't think Bastion's dead. They didn't kill off Sinister. So it's just kind of like, are we gonna bring Sinister back again for something? Like, I don't know, because I've obviously now officially the bandwagon's over. Madeline Pryor's definitely fucking dead. They would have brought her back now, and she's
Who called it?
You're right on that one. So Madeline Pryor's, even Bastion says like, I'm going to give her a quick death. It was the first time someone actually said she was dead. Like, I'm going to execute this planet just as fast as I did your mother, which was like great fucking line. That's cold, but that was the first time anyone actually had admitted she was dead. So I just feel like with Pryor dead, Cable's gone. Like, I thought this was I don't know. It was a funny moment, but they should have just killed Sinister. I think it would have been a good send off for this character finally. But no, he's out there and he'll be back. He'll probably be back next year with Apocalypse with some sort of fucking plan. So
He's gonna outlive Apocalypse at this rate. I feel.
absolutely, absolutely, they're gonna bump into him in the future. Cyclops and Phoenix with the little Nathan back. Oh, and here's my uncle. Ha 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 ha! And he's gonna be there.
He's kind of one of those, as I was mentioning in my opening thoughts at the start of the episode, in terms of the first half of the season and just the different dynamic there. Like, he peaked in whatever that episode was with the Goblin Queen.
3, yeah.
Yeah, and that's too bad. Like,
Yep.
I mean, that's an amazing episode. It's hard to top that in any means, but I feel like they didn't even really try that much with him in the end. And it makes sense, you know, you're setting up Bastion as the new exciting villain. He's the big bad of the season. I get it, but I am a little disappointed with Sinister now that the season's done, and like this arc too is kind of complete. And I just felt weird. Like, the dynamic you had with Bastion was a bit strange. Where Sinister's like, "Oh, you promised me Cable. I was gonna get him as a prize," and he's like, "Oh, I gotta make an example out of him." And I don't know. I feel like that dynamic too, like that those two butting heads. We got like 2 or 3 lines of dialogue in this whole season of them butting heads. Like it was a weird duo that I think didn't end up landing as much as it could have.
Especially because I get why they did it, because they wanted to hide Bastion, but all the talk was, oh, Sinister's the main villain, let's go around. And that's where it's like, oh, he's going to, like, Sinister's always been a main bad guy here and there, but it feels like there is always a bigger threat, right? And that's where it's like, oh, finally, they're going to get this. Like, it reminds me a lot of, probably you guys won't understand this, but when they made the Arkham Origin games, there was a prequel to the Arkham trilogy, and they're like, everyone's very excited. Black Mask was going to be the main villain. Everyone's excited it's not the Joker, it's something different. Then the big reveal was Black Mask was like, it was just Joker under the black mask, and then Joker takes over. You're like, oh, like I like Joker, but like we have had enough of this, and that's what this feels like, where it's like they were making it, they used him as a red herring to make us think Sinister was going to be that. And even if he wasn't, like to your point, then just give him some more excitement. But it felt like the second Bastion got introduced, he took a massive step back, and I guess maybe that's why they don't want to kill him, because they use him. But I just, I can't say it's tough. It's like the Wolverine thing with people that complain, oh, we didn't get enough Wolverines. Like, there's so many episodes of Sinister, but I guess I just wish he was in there a little bit more. So I'm not hugely disappointed, but like there's quality of the writing that's maybe not there for Sinister.
I did at least love the moment of Jean ripping the DNA out of him.
Oh,
I thought that was just iconic. Like, I'm gonna remember that one. That was sweet.
It's good.
He was definitely getting. I mean, he's done some very horrible things, but he definitely was getting the short end of the stick in this deal, because Bastion was gonna blow Cable's brains out, and he's like,
Which
no,
is what happened with him in
no.
Apocalypse too. He's not very good at making deals.
No, he's not. He's definitely not.
They don't respect him.
Because he can't fight. He always keeps making deals with people he cannot get the upper. He's not gonna beat Bash. He's not gonna beat Apocalypse. Like,
Which is why he's such a fun villain. That he's just like kind of a goofball, or I don't know. He doesn't like gain this respect from the other super villains. They just see him as like as lesser than for whatever reason.
Yeah. Next time we see him, do we see him all pretty, or do you think we might get one more time of him looking like the Gollum Sinister?
I think he's Gollum Sinister.
I think
he'll
half.
just.
Yeah,
I think he'll cover himself up in something. He'll like a
Oh,
Baron
yeah.
Zemo or something. He'll have like a hood over his head, or
Ooh.
we won't really see him in that. He won't want to show it off. He's very much about the vanity, apparently. Which
very
makes
much
sense. He is a very like his gown, the way it flows. Like even in the flashback episode in the last season of him with his glasses and stuff. Like I feel like he pays a lot of attention to his style.
Him running away, talking like, "Don't look at me." That's way more the current Sinister. Like, there's the Sinister, like when the Met Gala. There's a Sinister, like God, what is it? The Hellfire Club Gala, and he's always showing up very extravagant. Like, they make him very. he's much more, I won't say like a Taika Waititi type, but there's isms of that in the newer Sinister, and that fits with him wanting to look very particular. So I did like that. So I like if he's like hanging down the sewer with the new Morlocks, you know, that's where I want to see him, like the way he looks. Like that's what I picture for
He could be the new
Sinister.
leader now that Callisto's dead and
Yeah.
Leech is gone.
Yeah,
And
Leech
Leech
is
is
gone.
poor Leech. He well, at least for the greater good, right? Magneto got still alive. So, what I want to say about that whole situation, yeah, Cable, they took the jewel out of his head. We touched upon this at the beginning. My disappointment with this is last week you had Robbie and Rogue turn on the X-Men and fight against the X-Men. You had Cyclops literally shoot Xavier. Not one mention of any of that this episode. They are just back to team together. And at one point, Cyclops, like, everything's going to shit. And he's like, yeah, and everything's Magneto's fault. It's like, dude, you fucking, like, you shot him and made this keep going. Like, I just felt like what I said to my non-spoilers, there was a scene or an episode where they all talked it out or something. It just felt weird that they never even mentioned, like, last episode, Jubilee and Robbie were fighting, and they don't talk about that. Robbie said something like, oh, like he insinuates he's not good at fighting, so he's probably going to die, and she just shoots him a smile, and Rogue just calls him Romeo. But, like, he doesn't even apologize for, like, oh, I'm sorry what I did back then. Like, Rogue doesn't. Cyclops never even says sorry to Charles. Like, I just felt like this whole huge moment, unfortunately, it felt like they did it just so they could do the Wolverine adamantium thing because it's such a big comic thing. So I felt like for such a big moment, the follow-up was not there for any of it. It just felt like Cyclops like got away with one. Like the fact, and this is again, they could talk about next season, so maybe, but I get that the world's crashing down, so I completely understand that. It just felt very odd that for these big moments, big turns, it was resolved very quickly, and it's something that hurts my score. And if it doesn't get picked up in the second season, the score is always going to remain my way because I just thought it was very great stuff, but I felt like they just won big moments last week, and then they went, whatever, let's just, we're back together, right? Yeah, cool. Let's not talk about any of that stuff. Because, Cyclops choosing Magneto or helping Magneto promote should be something that should be a really, I don't know, I think breaking point for Charles in his relationship, but really wasn't, it seems fine. So I was disappointed by the follow-up on all that stuff with the X-Men.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It felt like that should have been a multi-parter.
Yes.
Amongst the multi-parter. If we have like Tolerance's Extinction, 3-part or a 3-part episode, and then you have like a 2-parter in between it or something, because it should feel a lot more significant than it is, because it was a really big moment in that episode, but the follow-up should also be equally as important, and we just don't have time to really like sit with it. Like I wouldn't really take anything out of this episode, I think, to squeeze that in. Like I think what you said there about this feeling like an episode 11 where we kind of missed it on episode 10 is entirely accurate, because you just don't have room to squeeze that in, and it's unfortunate because it is a really big moment that should have its proper screen time to
I'd
really
take out
cover
some of
those
that
things.
Charles and Eric stuff. I think they got the
I
point
wouldn't.
across.
Oh,
I think
fucking loved all that stuff.
I did, but it just didn't need to be that long. Like, at least give us 2 minutes of Charles and Cyclops talking, but
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really talk about that moment when we were talking about those characters, but like just that particular it's like they're in like a limbo type situation where like
Yes.
they're trapped in the scene. I've also probably seen that done in like other movies or TV shows.
it's
where, like,
Inception too, right?
Certain
Yeah.
characters are just trapped somewhere, and then you have just like the symbolism of like the flood coming in, and it's just like taking them together, and it's just the stormy weather outside, but they're still in that bar that they were like contained in. That's just like that one scene is just so. It's just so much more than what Saturday morning cartoons are. Like in my mind, that's what makes me think the show is just whole nother caliber as to what that original show is. That original show was great, but no, I loved all those moments. I loved that it wasn't just one quick moment. Like we were there, bounced to some other characters, and then bounced back to that just that moment. And when the water was taking them, and Charles is just wanting to, like he's trying to comfort Magneto as much as he can. I absolutely love that whole sequence, but yeah, we can jump back to what we were talking about before.
What were we talking about before? I'm already lost. now.
Cyclops, Rogue,
Yeah, just the
Robbie,
fallout of
back
the,
on the team.
Yeah.
X-Men's.
No, I'm with you on wanting to see a bit more resolution with some of that stuff. I mean, the Jubilee Robbie stuff, I kind of, like I said last week, I'm like, I don't think we're gonna successfully land this one. Like I think Jubilee as a character, I mean, even by the end of the original series, like she was up there, really one of my favorites, like a really fun character. And I think this season she was really fun as well. But I think the Robbie stuff didn't end up working quite as much. So I don't know. Maybe they're set up for some good stuff, considering that they're in the present day and there's not many other characters, so we're gonna get a lot more of that. But yeah, there wasn't a ton to be had there. I don't know. I don't think I have much else to say on that. I think I'd want to jump to like some Bastion stuff if you guys want to. Bastion.
Taylor, you got any thoughts before we move on the
I mean,
game?
I just feel like there was a lot of stuff that wasn't resolved properly, so I'm kind of in the same boat as you
Yeah.
guys.
I laughed at the moment when Sunspot has his clash with Bastion. Like I thought visually it looked great, especially when we go to Earth and you just see like the big Sunspot-isms going off.
And the
But-
humans are just like, oh no!
I just love when Bastion's like, he's like basically just shit talking Sunspot, talking about like his mother and like just being like turned away, and I'm like, Sunspot just feels like such a like an ant compared to like Bastion. Like Bastion's like clashing with like the Summers, Charles, Magneto, and then you just have Sunspot, and he's so like, it's like he's done his research on every enemy or
he's
like
seen the
every single
series.
X-Men. Yeah, exactly. He just knows all the details of his mother and the politics and how that affects Sunspot. But so, and I guess it does make sense because he is like a robot, so I guess that knowledge is just there right away. But I just found it funny that their dialogue, it seemed like it should have been like a Charles Magneto type moment, but I'm like, Bastion and Sunspot, like really, like these are not rivals. In my
They are
mind.
now. That's
They
gonna
are
be
now, yeah.
season 3 of '97. They're gonna be going at it, you know.
To me, my ex.
Which is funny because you could have played up something with like their both rocky relationships with their mother, right? But again, because they just didn't spend enough time with Robbie as a character, like there's potential there, and hopefully that happens in season 2. But again, like other than one person, no one died, and that person's coming back, so it's like the roster's not gotten any smaller. So I do think they got to watch that. I think maybe they got to kill someone. Like not as much as I love Wolverine, but like if you're telling me, hey, we're gonna kill Wolverine off, it's like yeah, that's fine because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be talked about. But at least Bastion looked cool. You got your wish, man. I told you just had to wait. Like I said, just wait for the finale fight, and he popped off. He got a lot of upgrades. He took Cable's arm and just attached it to him.
That was cool.
He was looking great and very scary, very psychotic. So all that stuff for me was great with Bastion.
That like first Inception episode when I wasn't liking the look of him, and then that's when I was looking up the wings, and of course Trav was like, just wait, you're gonna get it.
It's gonna happen.
What we actually got was so much cooler than that other concept art that I saw. So I ate all of that up. I thought him ripping Cable's arm off and just turning into himself, and like even before that when he has like the headband on that Phoenix throws on him, and he's just, there's an aura about him. He just feels so Endgame boss, and I'm not saying Endgame Avengers, just like this is the
Yeah.
final boss, and it felt
Yeah.
like that. There's multi stages to the fight, like a good
Absolutely.
video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just loved how we're going back from the surface of Earth up to Asteroid M, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That was such a fun fight, and I mean, Rogue is just such a badass. She's so strong, so powerful, just like tossing him around, tossing him back down to Earth, and throwing him around, getting that fight. And that place that they were at when it was like her, Sunspot and Bastion, like I swear that was a location from the original series, and like I can't remember what it was, but it seemed like I seem to remember that location, so I'd have
I
to.
thought they fought something big there. I thought there was like
I thought that was Apocalypse's like
could have been something
hideout
like
on
that.
the moon,
Yeah.
right? Because it looked like a statue of him, unless I'm really out to lunch. That's just, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this is Apocalypse.
Yeah, there was a
place.
statue. Yeah, I can't remember what the sequence was, or the episode, or even the season. It'll be hard for me to dig that one out, but it seemed like a throwback to some extent. But either way, it was a cool battlefield. But yeah, Rogue is just so cool. Yeah, once again, did not expect Sunspot to come save the day, and then just once again like the team battle up. When they finally take him out at the very end with Cyclops just going like Omega level mode, all the team combos going on there as we mentioned with Jubilee, and then of course like the classic X-Men of not going for the killing blow but just trying to extend that olive branch and let him kind of, I don't know, just put all of it in front of him so that he can like redeem himself and he can be a good guy at the end of it. And he ends up blowing up, but in a way that's like, okay, he could easily come back if they wanted to.
And he was reaching out when he blew up, though, because Scott offered his hand.
That's what I mean.
and
Like he was going for it. And yeah, I mean, obviously with the asteroid teleporting to who knows where in time and place. Who knows where he is, but I'm sure he's still out there, and they
With
can
Morph
play
and
with him
Logan.
in the future if they want to.
Yeah.
Or he's with Cable, Jubilee, and Sunspot.
Yeah, just the worst quad ever of
back on it.
teams. Yeah, I did like too that the start of the Rogue fight. She said his name was Gambit, remember, and then clocked him with the big one and
Dude,
everything.
chills.
So
She
yeah,
did the Hulk clap on him too, like
That
right
was
in his
sweet.
face.
Oh,
Headbutted
yeah.
him. Yeah, I oh man, I loved having Rogue really pop off here because I don't know, she had her moments, and I feel like she's had more like character moments probably than she's had in all the other show, but the previous X-Men cartoon, but it just to really have her pop off like that, it's like, oh yeah, no, she's still like the strongest X-Men,
Yeah.
physicality wise at least.
Morph, Mr. Fantastic. I thought that was fun. I mean, he could have just, I guess, morphed into someone who flies,
Angel.
but that was a lot more stylish to go
Yeah.
in Mr. Fantastic. So I liked that because that was another one of those series that had one of those animated shows probably in the 90s, I would assume too. So
It did. There's an
Um,
episode, Taylor. You got to watch that. Ghost Rider beats Galactus. So
I do.
Whoa,
Beats them?
spoilers.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I love that. Every time Morph does that, it's always throwing me for a loop because I'll be like, when the fuck did Mr. Fantastic get into the fight? So
Taylor's watched that till 6 in the morning.
Just as sure as a rock is covered in chills already.
But then the chills go away because it's not Mr. Fantastic. Oh, it's just Morph, which because I don't want to forget. Morph is like, if they don't put Logan and Jean together next season, which they're not gonna now because they're all split up. Like that's definitely. I know they're helping Logan by turning into Jean and saying, "Oh, I love you," but that's also Morph saying that too. You know, I feel
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
So I don't think the show will be bold
They didn't-
enough to go
they
there.
did not
but-
set that up this season. I feel like that was definitely very intentional with the romance angle with them, and I feel like there was
Yeah.
a lot implied as well. So I'm down for it. I'd love to see that.
I love it too. I hope they go that route. I don't think they'll be bold enough to do it. They've done it.
Imagine watching episode 1 of the original run and then making that prediction.
one day they're gonna be shipped in a that'd be crazy,
That's
after
crazy how things
especially
have
Morph
changed.
once they get like the big eyes and everything. But
Yeah,
hey,
the troopy.
yeah, Logan did say more slow one can make him laugh, right? So it's been there. It's been there since the beginning. So
Very true.
More.
anything else specifically? I know we got the ending, but let's see here.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think my only other note was the Mr. Post credit there.
Oh, go ahead.
I think there was 2 different versions of the X-Men intro. It was pretty subtle. There was, of course, I didn't write down the specific moments that they happened in. I think it was at
I
the
know.
end, and then okay,
It's
help
when
me out.
there's like an operatic version of the theme, and it's when they're
Oh,
all
yeah.
trying to make Asteroid M stay up. So Storm's out there; they're all like putting rings. Yeah, it's like
Fucking play your rock
"Ah!"
meme. That one, dude, chills. Gosh,
Yeah,
I was
it
slapped.
Chills.
That was so good. And I can't remember if it was that one or the second one that happened later on in the episode, but it had like a bit of the like that.
Yeah.
You know, I just think Halo theme every
Your
time I
Halo
hear that.
theme, yeah.
I was like, are you
And-
singing Halo?
Yeah, so like I'm pretty sure it happens earlier on too. It's not the X-Men version, but there's just some of that like Halo isms to it, and God, I fucking love that theme. That's gotta be one of my favorite themes of all time. When you have so Scott does his stare down with Bastion. Bastion does the Black Bolt mouth thing, and then whatever the fuck we call it, the phaser through the mouth beam.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
then
that's what Black Bolt does, but I could be wrong.
Black Bolt just opens his mouth, right?
But does he
Yeah,
shoot
nah.
beams?
No, I think
I
they're like
guess not.
sonic waves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Okay, never mind. It's a purple
an-
effect.
Yeah.
and then the Scott counters, and he does the epic line of "You'll never hurt my family again," and that was really intense. But then it's followed by a scream, and not just like a big exclaim or like a meaty yell. Like he actually screams, and my subtitles said "scream," and the audio just made me laugh so hard because it's not the audio effect that I was expecting. It's literally like, "You'll never hurt my family again." Like it sounds like he's dying. Like it's I don't know. It's just not where I thought it was going.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That one got me really good. And then wanted to shout out the genetic inferior again, my nickname here. But just when Magnus is talking about, Charles always wanted to help out the inferiors, but
Yeah.
fuck, I love those moments, and all of those one-on-one moments actually, like not when they're in the psyche of Magneto, but well, I guess they are in the psyche of Magneto. That's the whole point of the bar sequence. But when you just get more of the history of what Magneto really went through to become where he is, and I think it's again when Charles is kind of just trying to reel him back and like have him remember, like you don't remember your family because you were so young when you lost them, and you just kind of hear like soldiers' boots and stuff like going on in his mind. It's just such a fantastic set, like I think reasoning for that character to have the motivations that he has to like just see the worst in people because he's really gone through that, and just such a well-made character, man. Just Magneto's so good. I'm glad he's not dead, just that we get more of him, even though that would have been like a big consequence moment.
Cut to next year in the penultimate episode when he's like, "Fuck the humans" again, and you're like, "Oh, I'm glad he's here to do
Scott's
this."
like, "You'll never hurt my friends again."
I'm gonna put the middle back into Logan this time.
God, what would be worse, getting that thrown on you or removed?
I think they're removed because it's just the ripping.
But it would have to be the exact same, like, right? You'd have to rip through the skin to get back on them.
Yeah, there's just something though about like I think being put on the bones, the skin. You're right, but the bones part, I think being ripped off the bones versus just putting back in place.
Because that's harder to get right too. Like Magneto, he's good with metal, but to like make all those pieces fit perfectly, good luck. Whereas ripping it off, I mean, just like
only one way out.
Yeah. Only one way through the skin.
Well, we didn't get to see it this episode, so I'll be interested to see if he gets those bone claws. If they should go that route, I imagine. I don't think they're going to say, "Oh, he just has adamantium," but that'll be fun. I guarantee you'll get that in the trailer for that season when they do it. So,
Bone claws is ready.
No. Let's see. The only thing is there anything we haven't talked about other than the end credit here?
No.
Well, we got to see, which I was surprised. We didn't get any end credits this whole season. I was surprised because we got to see like, Apocalypse Evanson it's I can't fucking remember how I'm screwing up his name now. Evansoner? No, I think I'm not. I don't know. It's been a while.
What are you
look
talking
it up?
about?
Apocalypse's like name. His name isn't Apocalypse.
He wasn't born
And
Apocalypse.
Sabanur.
N7er, thank you. So anyway, so you get that. And then that's why I did not think the end credit would be. I was completely on the bandwagon where, okay, it's going to be Onslaught. You know, they're setting up all the stuff with Bastion, Magneto's still alive, Xavier's still alive, all this stuff. But no, Onslaught not even hinted at in this episode of this season, so we'll see what happens. But we go back to Genosa. There's a flag. There's a guy cloaked. And like, okay, this is again. I was surprised because we just saw him, but this is the present day. And then he has a bunch of rubble in his hand. And he's like, oh, so much death. And then we go up, and it's big old Apocalypse, the big old, like I said, blue booty daddy. But then they go down his hand. The rubble brushes away, and it's Gambit's card. And like we talked about a couple weeks ago, that's how they're bringing him back. And I'm completely 100% fine with that. The time travel, I would not have been for, but this is still going to be, he did the sacrifice. We're going to get that cool moment when Rogue and the X-Men got to fight Gambit, and it's going to be badass. Now, they could also do, I don't think they're going to, but there is a comic book where Wolverine becomes a member of the Apocalypse because he wants his medal back. So there could be, when we talk about where's Wolverine, there
And
could
we've
be...
all seen Morph be on the evil side before, so that could work too.
So, yeah, but either way, I'm happy Gambit's coming back in this fashion. I still wouldn't fine if they said, oh, he's dead, that's the way it is. But if they're going to bring him back, I'm fine with him going to do a little evil arc. And I don't know, maybe they'll do some stuff like because he died, his skin cells are dead so he can touch Rogue. Like maybe they'll do some sort of fuckery like that. But I'm very excited to see him as the Death Horseman. The comics, it's a little meh of a run, but I think they'll do a good job here. But yeah, what do you guys think about one Apocalypse? Obviously, big bad, so kind of like Sinister returning, but new set of writers, everything, and then Gambit's presumably on his way back, but on the bad side this time.
I think I'm. I don't know. I got to see it. Of course, they
see.
could nail it.
Yeah.
But I like consequences, and I don't love Gambit comes back. Now I understand this is a different way, and that would be very dramatic. But I kind of like where this leaves off with Rogue, and so I don't know if we kind of just retread our ground now. It sounds like we're going to go through quite the battle to get there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll all work out in the end, but I don't know. I think especially with what you said too, like we got enough people on the team right now. We didn't like Beast, had like 4 scenes in this season, and Wolverine didn't get to do much, but that's fine because Wolverine was like the star of the original series, so I think it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Like I don't think we need to add more people back, and I think it's good to lose people and have that be the case for longer than, I don't know, 3 episodes. We'll see how long it takes for him to come back. But in theory, I'm not a huge fan of it. It doesn't excite me too much. But Apocalypse does. I'm excited to see what he's up to. It's always fun to see Apocalypse.
Been a while because season 5 he wasn't really in it. There was an episode, but it was just him trying to get out, and he never got out. So now he's out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he could get out. He was being resurrected, right? That dude fell back on top
Yeah.
of the thing.
God, I forgot about
The
that.
Apocalypse is like, oh, perfect. I'm back.
Give me power,
master.
So sorry, actually, just as a question, like, is that what's going to happen? Probably is that he's going to resurrect Gambit's corpse.
Yeah, and he's gonna be deaf. That's usually what he does. He gives them something. So yeah, he's gonna pull Gambit out of the ground and just, hey, maybe that's what we get prior too. Maybe my prior theory is gonna, it's gonna happen.
Very
but
possible, actually. Very possible. And
Dylan's
and
still
Sebastian
right,
Shaw.
though, if that goes the case.
He is, but
Because
I'm
he
on the
did-
other
'cause
side
she
that
died.
I don't think it will be prior. I think that storyline will be done for. I think Wolverine has a shot because there'll be some scene where he goes to fight like a Sentinel and he can't beat them with his bone claws. Like, I'm such a loser now and I hate my life. And
He just cries and runs away like
There
Sinister.
he might run. I don't know if he's gonna cry, but like I could see them doing that storyline where he's just like, I'm useless now. So I could see him becoming a member of the Apocalypse. And I don't know who. I should look it up. Who else the other members were when Wolverine?
That just
was
seems
a member.
like so un-Logan like though. Like
He
I
does
get
it,
it.
though.
He wants the nerf, or he doesn't want the nerf. He's got the nerf. He wants the buff of the metal claws, but to just side with Apocalypse to get that, maybe I just don't know him well enough. But from what I've been shown, it just seems so un-Logan like.
No, he
I'm
does
guessing
it.
that happened after a few decades, and then they're like, we're out of ideas. Let's let's try something here with Wolverine."
100%.
I
Yeah.
want to be bad now. I hate being so short.
Yeah. The only thing though, when he was an Apocalypse member, he was deaf. So I don't know if you'd have, because I think Gam's gonna be deaf. So probably not there. I guess they could always change some things, but he had some.
What makes
He's-
you think Gambit's gonna be death?
Because he literally said death. He said so much death here, and he's holding Gambit's card. I feel like that's as foreshadowing as you can get there. But like, if you look at, I'm trying to find a full screen image here of Wolverine.
He's
but,
just
like,
holding the card. He's like, so much disease.
No, he's
That
like
would
so much
change-
death,
that would-
and he's
that would-
he's holding like Leech's head. But yeah, that was Wolverine. He's had.
I actually
couple
love
looks
the look.
of Wolverine there. He has
What
that.
the
But I'm
fuck is
trying.
that?
I don't know where it's taking me here.
Most
But,
powerful horseman.
That one right there. Yeah, that's the Wolverine one right there.
I really
so-
like that look.
He's got the chastity belt on too.
Yeah, but I was trying to
Got him.
find who
Holy
else was
fuck,
on the
that's crazy.
team with them. I found it like this one right here, but that's not so I'll do some
Ghost
more
Rider.
I'll do some more digging and stuff. But yeah, like but this is how they like, hit him at first.
That's just a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I love it. That's so
yeah.
cool.
And then I will take where's Gambit here?
Chat saying Hulk, Colossus, Juggernaut.
Oh, thank you. So Hulk, Colossus, and that was a fucking stacked horseman. Hulk, Colossus, Juggernaut, and Wolverine with Apocalypse.
And he didn't bring the apocalypse.
My
Wow.
God, yeah. How did they lose that fight? They really suck. But and then here's Gambit. He's seen better
Oh, it looks
days.
sick.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna get that white hair. Like, look at that. That's like put a red lightsaber in this man's hand, and he's
I
a
don't like the
Sith.
blue version. I'm gonna be honest. I do like that other image though.
Yeah, but and I don't know, Chad. If you know who was can you tell me who the members were when Gambit was on there? Because that's looking like that. That's Sentry. But,
Galactus on the left.
yeah, so I'm just curious. Like that's another fun. And Thanos, Awatu.
How did he lose that time?
Yeah, Awatu's like I couldn't see anything, and so I needed but so yeah, it's probably not going to be Wolverine. But that's another fun thing when we talk about who the X-Men is. Who will be those other horsemen? Could it be other members of the people that did die at Genosha? you
Yeah, I
know?
think that would be really cool if they went that route instead of just the nameless four
Yeah.
that they had before. And they had fun looks, but they never had personalities. in that original run. So I think that would be fun if they made them all relevant characters. And
An
there's been
angel.
a few deaths now, and we have enough fuel to do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Travis,
Leech.
because you just said Uatu, I had to look it up. So the area of the moon, it was the blue area of the moon.
Oh, thank you.
That's what it's titled. And there's some crazy stuff that's gone in there. I won't reveal for some fun purposes, but that's where they fought Dark Phoenix, apparently, or ex-heroes.
Okay.
Also contains the citadel of Uatu. So there you go.
Sorry, is that the arena we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, like where Rogue was
Okay,
fighting
interesting.
Bastion. Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay, so the people that he had on the Apocalypse for when Gambit was there was Sunfire, Polaris, which will Magneto's daughter, so you could always have some fun there, and then Gazer.
No
Is that Kazar's cousin?
That's what I was gonna look up. I don't think he's related to Kazar.
Is it spelled the
but
same though? Like
It's Gazer. He's like an alien-looking motherfucker.
with like a
so-
hyphen though, or no?
No hyphen.
Okay,
Yeah, no
different
hyphen.
relatives.
Yeah.
Okay, so not as spicy of a roster. if you're-
Definitely not.
No. Like, I guess you could do this roster minus Hulk. Like, who would you swap out? Let's say you got Gambit, Colossus, Juggernaut. Who would be a good Hulk replacement?
Red Hulk.
No, I'm trying to think of another X-Men.
Scar,
Blob.
She-Hulk.
Who the fuck's Scar? Oh,
That's
that's
Scar, the son of Hulk.
God.
Come on,
Let's
man.
do it. I
Scar.
love it.
Taylor's
Son of
favorite
Hulk?
character. Yeah.
Who else died? Who else could we use?
Leech. No.
Leech.
He's
I do
just
think
fucking
Pryor for
jacked,
sure.
too.
Pryor's always a...
What's that one nerdy kid that got in one of the later
Callisto?
seasons of the animated show X-Men?
Rogue's ex-boyfriend?
No, he had the glasses and
Oh, that dweeby guy.
yeah, the dweeby guy.
Then he gets
Oh,
like
got
buff.
Juggernaut's
He goes
powers.
to the club.
yeah,
Yeah, that
I
guy.
You know-
he goes into the
Nah.
bar to get girls.
Throw Dazzler on the Apocalypse. See what like her singing powers are, what the Horseman power is? Hell yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Or get Songbird.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see that new version. I'm excited to see because I think these writers handle all these villains pretty well. Like I have some cons here and there, but to see what they do with Apocalypse, especially after so many seasons of what he's done, what can they do? So
Yeah, no, I was hyped on that card reveal because, you know, I was in such disbelief that Gambit was actually going to die. I really thought he was just going to come back this season, but no, they did a good job at sticking to their guns, and I think it's one of those things that, okay, they kept him away for one season, but like he's got to come back in one way, shape, or form, and I'm glad the way that we're getting him back is through Apocalypse, as opposed to like, you know, our heroes going back in time to stop the whole
Yeah.
event. from
look what I
happening, so.
found. Hey,
He's
mon
just
ami.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't die. Anything else? Any other notes?
Mm-mm.
Taylor, you look like you're creeping up the mic. Did you have any more to say on Gambit? Did I cut you off there?
I think that, you know, well, you could stew on it a little bit longer and really just leave him on the back burner of being dead. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think you necessarily need to rush to bring him back because he just had such an impactful death in this season. So I'm absolutely not opposed to just kind of keeping him away. Bring him back in like season 3 or something like that, and just give us like the time just to focus on what's going on now in the present. But that being said, I'm totally welcome to see him come back and see if he is actually this one of the 4 horsemen working for Apocalypse. Like that's
they gotta
just,
sell toys. They're gonna sell the
sell
shit of those
toys.
Gambit white hair toys. I'm telling you, you're gonna.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic for it. I think that'll look cool. I mean, either way, like I said, I'll be happy. The show's just been fantastic.
Well, Taylor, what would you give this episode for thumbs, and then what would you give the entire season for a rating?
I'm gonna slide both my thumbs right up there, and
Man.
Just raw dogging them.
yeah, this show has been fantastic. I think the best thing in the world is that we did this retro because X-Men is just great. I love X-Men. It's a
Wow,
fantastic
how
show.
far we've come.
Fantastic. Yeah, how far we've come. So I think that they did great things in this season, which just it feels like I wasn't there in those young adolescent days when the community was really rallying and watching every weekend morning the X-Men 97 or X-Men the original animated series. So I didn't get to enjoy that feeling, But I understand watching this show how people that grew up watching that original show have just been embracing this and feel like, okay, this is such a great continuation. I can feel all those nostalgic vibes again. And it's just, I'm happy that I can kind of piggyback a little bit on that because if this hype level stays consistent and we get more of this into other animated shows as well, then I just, it gets me really, really jazzed. So I hope that they don't drop the ball. This has been great. Loki's been great. And I'm hoping like Deadpool.
Echo.
No, Deadpool is
We also
great
got that
too.
this year, so just checking.
I honestly I forget about Echo quite often. It's
You just
it's
drafted
unfortunate.
someone with that was in that show.
He
Who'd I
tried
draft?
to. He tried to.
Oh, he tried to.
forgot.
We denied you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
already forgot.
Agatha coming up too.
Agatha, I'd be more excited, especially the use of like using practical magic and not a lot of CGI magic. So.
Yeah,
all
that's what
card
they-
tricks.
That's what they say. Yeah.
That's what that's. I kid you not, Dylan.
They also
that's what
lied
they
about the
said.
title like 7 times, so I mean,
It's all
good joke.
CGI.
I don't
effects,
believe
no
anything they
practical.
say.
What's your number rating on the season, Taylor? If you want to drop one.
Oh, I'm dropping. It's a 10.
I'm dropping it to 10.
There you go,
Crazy.
Mr. Muss. Final thoughts, thumbs.
No, I mean, yeah, there's so much that happened in this season. I think, maybe the biggest thing for me is that through that whole original series, and honestly, any live action thing, all of my history of being into Marvel stuff, Scott and Jean, I don't care about these characters. They're kind of lame. I love them. I think they did such a good job in this series of, infusing so much personality into them, seeing different angles of them, getting more into the backstory, learning a lot more about them, and then just seeing them pop off with with their powers in a way
Yeah.
I've never seen before too. So I think that's maybe like the one thing that I'm most grateful for from this show. But overall, it was such a good time thinking back some of those earlier episodes and the crazy stuff we got, getting my boy Mojo in there. Rogue continues to be my favorite character. She's so fun. Bastion was a really, really fun villain. Up there, if we did a ranking, for all of this X-Men series, he would probably be like a top 5 villain for me, maybe across the whole thing. I had a really great time with the show. I'm gonna give this episode the double thumbs for sure.
Thumbs.
I think I'm gonna go with a 9.375 for my overall
Damn.
series ranking. It's not a 10. It's not quite a 9.5, but it's really, really great. Really, really solid. Great stuff. Anyone would be happy to get a score like that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Mr. Pats.
Mr. Me, yeah, I think that this episode is a solid 2 thumbs in the up direction. No, it was fantastic. I
Mediocre.
steaming pile
Steaming
of thumbs
pile.
in the air.
I wanna hear that.
No, yeah, this show is fantastic. Not quite perfect, but like better than a 9.5 in my mind. So I'm gonna go 9.875. I think.
Oh, okay.
Inspired by Dylan with that one.
Why not? Let's
Uh,
get funky with it,
Let's get funky with it. No, I like it's just I feel like the highs were so skyrocketed past Asteroid M level of highs. Like it is way up there. And some minor things like I mean, I didn't really talk about it, but like personally I feel like the whole Storm thing was like pretty underwhelming. Like she had some cool moments, I guess, when she came back. But when she came back, like shit's already kind of hit the fan, and like she
Yeah.
has a couple pop-up
She's just
moments.
there to party
but
at that point.
she's just there to look cool with her new outfit, and she does look great. My beautiful Storm. But yeah,
Dear God, Storm.
I'm
They didn't even talk.
I'm hoping for some more moments with her. I think in the next season. But like they also kind of set an episode or 2 aside just for her, and I kind of think that was a little bit underwhelming. And like some other minor things, like what we already talked about with the team breaking up and how the fallout didn't seem quite as severe as it should have been. But like, yeah, those are some gripes, but like everything around it was still really well done. It's more so I just wanted more of what was done there. And yeah, no, such a fantastic, like, it's wild to me. Like I was hoping that the show would be really great just because we were coming off the retro, but this is just so much better than I could have expected. And they really, really, really just up the caliber. You know, they're shooting us with little pea shooters. Now we're getting hit with the 50 calibers, and I'm taking it right through the body, and it's good pain.
Man.
I already dropped my rating. There you go, 9.875.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna go a thumb and a 75-degree thumb up because I do have some issues with the finale, and I'm gonna go kind of similar to you guys, and you know, not just because the show, but in honor of the show, kind of works. I'm gonna give it a 9.75. So
Nice.
this is definitely better than I thought it was. Like, I love the original show, but when we rewatch it, there's obviously some lulls that happen, right? But this was just more mature than I thought it was ever going to be, way more deeper than I thought it was going to be. So as somebody that just even years ago when they announced it, I remember when were there at Comic-Con, or no, I guess this was just a random D23, like they announced on a timeline or something. But I just remember, man, I never thought we'd get more X-Men. Like I've watched it, I don't know how many times, because me and Gwen, especially now that Gwen is, you know, once she came in the picture, now the other girls, like that and Spider-Man, they're usually on rotation like every year and a half or so. So the fact that that's happened and it's this good is great, because like there could have been they could have got far at least on nostalgia. That would have got them a little bit, but they didn't. They used that, but they didn't just rely on that. You know, they sprinkled it in at the key moments, but they also created something entirely new in some functions. I think, as we've talked about before, there's minor gripes that I have. My enjoyment level is like a 10, but my critical, I can't just give a full 10 because I have a few character moments for choices. I have a few character moments for Beast, Robbie, yeah, maybe even Storm a little bit, Bishop, as far as, okay, maybe a slight being underwhelmed, but overall, I'm not going to look back at this show of like the 9.75. I'm going to be like, man, it should have been a 10. Like even this finale, I'm a little disappointed in some aspects, but that's just because we're breaking it down. When I'm going to look back on this, it's going to be a major win, and I hope we get many seasons of X-Men. I hope this inspires all the other X-Men stuff in general, or Marvel stuff, just to look at this. And same thing with the X-Men. Like, it's I don't think they'll have to worry about the GA, but for me, it's like now the bar is set, and I'm not going to say I'm worried for the MCU X-Men, but I am slightly, because I just look at this, I go, man, I don't know. Like, I just hope that they can be as mature as this show is. You know, my kids are watching this, and there's definitely some dark stuff, but they can still enjoy it while I enjoy it. You know, it's like the Pixar when it's at its best thing. You know, so we'll see. But yeah, just a triumph for Disney, and because this could have gone wrong. It could have been, man, they brought back X-Men, and it really sucked, and they should have just left it where it was. But no, they practically hit out of the park, and I'm looking very forward to season 2. I'm just very thankful this thing exists, and you know, like we talked about, you know, Morph telling Wolverine, hey, that could be your soulmate, telling little Travis, you know, years later, man, like you're gonna get this great show that's 10 episodes and all this stuff, and yeah, it's a full circle. But yeah, it's sad that we're done. Obviously we got other X-Men stuff coming up, but this was such a journey, and now it's just like it's going to be on the back burner, hidden away for a while. But we'll be here. We'll be ready when that theme hits, when we got a trailer announcement. We'll be here reviewing all that. Thank you to everyone that checked out all these episodes, because animation is always a little iffy as far as how well it does, and they all did pretty well. So a big thank you to everyone that's been with us this whole time. Any questions or theories, bring them up. Of course, the newscast, we could talk about them. But yes, until next time, it'll not be boring.
See ya.
Bye.